And we are live. And we are live with the MINI JCW Racing Team. We have online with us right now is Bruce Myrehn, number 63, Clayton Williams, number 60. We got team owner Luis Perocarpi, and we should have driver of the 37 car, Cristian Perocarpi, joining us shortly. PJ Groenke, car 62, is out sick, so he probably is not going to be joining us. We wish him well. Apparently he caught a cold, so he's not doing too good right now, but we hope he feels better soon. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about. It was an interesting end to the season, but it was a pretty good season overall, I would say. We have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to talk about. Luis, what do you want to talk about, dive into first? I can ask questions or we can do anything else you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're here to celebrate, Clay,
Mm-hmm.
the end of the season. That was the cards we were dealt with all season long, right? So, Clay drove without mistakes all season long. He was able to keep his car underneath him. We have these bugs in the car that we deal with and show up out of nowhere, and Clay, however he did it, whether it was driving or whatever induced, he managed to keep his car for the most, running to the checker flag. Yeah, I mean, he did everything he needed to do. And, if you look at the driver in the TC class, at the end of the day, the driver, the most talented, the most precise driver won the driver's championship, Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because at the beginning of the year, you do calculations, you do guesses or whatever, and you see what it's kind of like gambling, right? Like you see your odds. What are your odds? Okay, well, there's 2 Hyundais, 2 Minis, 2 or 5 or 4 Hondas, right? And you're like, okay, well, if every car is balanced perfectly and they all had the same driver, if you played odds, who wins the drivers manufacturer championship? Who wins the manufacturer's championship? So let's drivers. It's drivers championship is the odd of a talent and car, right? Manufacturer's championship is okay. Well, which car has the most cars on track? First of all, that should be the favorite to win the manufacturer's championship. Okay, so that's if all the cars are balanced properly and all the drivers are even and every car, none of the cars fall out for all 14 races, right? So okay, now, so that's puts Honda number 1 and a battle between Mini and Hyundai, right? Is there another make in TC? That's it, right?
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's dwindle it down a little bit more. Okay, there's really one Veloster and one Elantra, right? Okay, so let's start narrowing the odds here. We don't know how we know how the Veloster runs and the driver. We didn't know about the Elantra, so you kind of put him off to the side, and you grab all the Hondas, and you got 4. I think 4. Maybe we had 5 at one time. I don't know, but in average, we had 2 to 4 Hondas in there. Well, the Honda is a delicate car, right? Like it's, according to our data, it's fast and it corners well, but it has its own problems with heat. So, okay, well, we're gonna take the Honda out, and if it is a factor, which one of the 4 drivers? Celsa, right? Celsa Neto, I think he's a good driver. He hasn't been able to show his talent. He's his biggest challenge is his own car, but Celso's been on pole or on the front row several times. He beat us frequently, I think, half the times. And unfortunately for him, he would fall off, So that's the data we have going into the season. So what does that leave? 2 good minis with 2 really good drivers in it, and the unknown Elantra with a good driver in it, right? So, okay, well, let's say the Elantras and all of the cars are balanced well. Well, what's the odds there? You have 1 Honda, one Elantra, and 2 minis. Who should win the manufacturers championship? But if you're playing, what are the odds? 2 to 1 to 1. Okay, well, so you make these predictions, and we go racing, thinking, okay, we have a chance or whatever. Then you look at drivers championship. Okay, you guys tell me which are the drivers in contention for the best drivers in TC. Obviously, our 2 drivers, Jeff Ricca and Neto, right? Now we don't know Jeff's car going into the season, and we know Neto's car very well because we have run a, we did help HPD develop the car, and when we turned it over to him, it was a winning car. We know its weaknesses, and so what are the odds for a drivers championship? In my mind, going into the season, it was going to be a battle between Cristian and Clay, Clay or Cristian. So, I don't know. So that puts us winning the manufacturers championship. If you're gambling, right? Winning the manufacturers championship and the drivers championship. And we have 2 cars against, again, you got the teams championship, which that's when I'm not sure anybody cares about that, but the guys do, right? The I don't care about that one. Normally, if you win a drivers championship or you win a manufacturers championship, you take the teams championship too, right? So that's kind of what happened. So I mean, that's just those were the predictions, right? Those are just predictions, and that all changed when we went to Sonoma. We found out where one car was, and so that was the cars we were handed, dealt with, and we went from there, right? So we had nothing for it. We finished, I don't know, Clay, I don't know. I think the Honda was in there too, right? At Sonoma, I don't even remember the results there. Did you get 2 podiums, Clay?
Yeah, so the first race I got second, and the second race I think I got third.
Right.
And Cristian, I believe, was in there as well on the podium.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember, but
yeah.
Right. So I mean, so the title, the race starts there, and then it continues, right? And we go to NOLA. Same thing. We just can't. We're only racing for second, and it's between Cristian and Clay. Cristian had a moment there that ended up not working out, and we went on to Coda, and then we had no competition. The only competition we had there was Celso, right? Celso, I think, was on the front row. Cristian had a broken rear bar, and it burnt his, once he broke the bar, he burnt this diff up and finished 4th, I think. You won both races at Coda, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you start playing the odds, right? And we have data, yeah, and so the entire season was like that, right? Then we go to VAR. Jeff's car had reliability issues, and he scored some points, and you won both races again. Cristian was fast. Cristian had a bunch of limp modes, and dealt with that, and that was it, right? So slowly Cristian's out of the drivers' championship because he's dealing with his car. He's plenty fast. Clay secures 4 wins in a row, which put him, a healthy drivers' championship lead. And again, if things were balanced properly, but we knew, right? We knew that you were hanging on to that. It was going to be all the way to the wire.
Yeah.
And we made I don't know. We went to, I'm kind of going down our season, right? I don't know where we go after NOLA.
After NOLA was CODA. After CODA was VIR. After VIR,
VIR, right?
Road America.
We went to VIR, and that's, Clay secured 2 wins there. And then where did we go after
Road
that?
America.
Road America, right? So Road
Yeah.
America, that was interesting, right? Because our data showed that we were still only second fastest, and we were going to race for second and third. And I think to everybody's surprise, even the Elantra, all of a sudden things were closer, and so our data didn't have, we have plenty of data and software to see all the cars, right? So we know all the cars. So just to be clear, when I say something, just make sure you hear. I say I assume is an assumption, right? But if I say I know, or the data shows, I have the data. I have the data to back my whatever I'm saying, at the time. So, yeah, I think it was a surprise to all of us that we were fast. Cristian almost won, didn't win, but was fast enough to challenge, and even took the lead a couple of times back and forth, and so on, and Clay, we, management, myself, Rob, and Z, we made a big mistake, and we screwed Clay up and costing him a drive-through penalty. So that's on us. And so we started making it kind of interesting, right? We started losing the championship for Clay, and so Clay recovered race 2. He won that, and that was probably fair and square. Still with a performance disadvantage, but because we were so much better around the corners, Clay never made a mistake. Again, driving ability. This is where you earned the title of class champion, right? And he won, right? So that was a legitimate win with racing with a performance disadvantage, and off the Sebring we went, and then our data, we were like, okay, well, how is that possible? I know, the series had turned the Elantra down the map or whatever, but our data still shows him quite fast in the straightaways. And anyway, so we went up to Sebring. Our calculations, showed us that he was untouchable, and it was kind of that way. We, and Clay did his best and had an issue for the first time, had a limp mode issue, and dropped him way back, and again, drove as fast as he was. I don't know if you were the second fastest car there because Rico was gone, but Cristian tried, but I don't know, we just don't have nothing for him in speed. And actually, the Mini is the slowest car in speed. The Honda's faster than us too, and and I have all the data again, and so we go to Indy, our home track, and Clay just needed to finish, I don't know, close third or fourth to Jeff to clinch it. And Cristian's goal was to win Indy. It's his home track. And our calculations showed. So here's the interesting thing, right? So we didn't talk about Road America much after we left, but we were all shocked. And it's like, maybe Jeff screwed up and his tire pressures are set up. But 2 races in a row, like that's strange, but whatever, right? So we win one finally, and off we go to Sebring, and we get through Sebring second, whatever. I think Cristian at this time. I mean, you can, Clay, you can speak about Cristian and the teammate he was to you. I mean, I'm dad, so what I say doesn't count. But yeah, we go to Indy, right? And so I was with Rob, and Rob stayed at my house, all weekend, and we're driving into the speedway, and Rob is, everybody knows Rob. He's brilliant, right? He's the numbers guy. He puts together the data. He creates a software. Like, we have stuff that, I mean, nobody has, right? Like, nobody has. And this is all, I don't know. You guys can speak about Rob too. He's been my best friend, and him and I have been racing together and very successful at it with, and most of it is because Rob we just know, right? Like, when he puts together the data and the numbers, I see it, he shows it to me. I take a screenshot and I save it. And, Rob says, well, we should be, he goes, I don't think Road America was a fluke. He says, I bet Jeff is going to struggle at Indy in the corners. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, well, Road America has been repaved, smooth track. He didn't race at Coda, so we don't know. And Indy's a smooth track. And Rob says, in my calculations, Cristian and Clay are going to be fastest. And he goes, Ricka's not a factor. And I go, what do you mean he's not a factor? And he goes, well, Neto's a factor. And I go, yeah, but Neto's a one lap, car. Like, after that, it just falls off. He goes, no, have you seen the weather? It's cold. He's going to have a ton of power, and he's not going to fall off. His problem is heat. And who won both races? Well,
should have won both races.
Who really won? Unfortunately, Neto came across a lap car, and unfortunate, right? Took him out. But if it would have gone green, what was going to be the finishing order? Neto,
Cristian,
you, Jeff, right? And so before we even drove into the speedway for the first time, that was our calculations, and and they were dead on. Rob was dead on with the calculations, and Cristian was on a mission to win Indy. He was super fast, I don't know what he had. I know. I mean, he was talking all week long that he was going to win Indy, and I know that you're driving, cautiously to make sure you get to the checker flag in the right spot, and you did what you needed to do. But you were right there fastest, right? It was the 2 minis, and yeah. So the end of the season was kind of interesting, because our calculations were that, Cristian should have won it. He was on a mission. We knew that Neto was a factor, and he was, right. He passed Cristian, even though Cristian was on pole, he passed Cristian fair and square, and Cristian was on his back bumper until somebody, they caught, lap traffic. So. And so now you play the odds, right? Like, holy smokes, my odds from the beginning of the season, and now, we don't really have a chance. to win manufacturers or team, and and Clay has a good lead of doing the right things through the season, and here we go, and then I don't know, we second race, Christian's on pole. There was some shenanigans going on there. Cristian ended up losing out because he had a flat tire from what was going on. And yeah, Cristian by the third lap was holding on, trying to keep the car straight, and he was spinning out off track, and unfortunately Ricka chose the wrong side and ended up driving into him, and they both went off, and and then Celsa got by you, and you got into second, and the rest is history, right? Like I don't know, did you have the pace to catch Neto? Maybe at the end you
No,
were
maybe a little bit, but I was gonna run out of time.
Yeah. And you had more pace than Jeff too, also.
Yeah, we were running consistently the same times every lap, but he was too far back.
Yeah. Were you pushing?
I was flat out. Yeah. Of
Copy
course.
Yeah. So,
especially with brand new gearbox and whatever you guys did to the transmission.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, we were already dealing with a mystery bug in the car, and 9 years racing this platform, and we've never had a gearbox failure. And on the last lap of race 1 at Indy, a shim or something came apart in the gearbox. We saw it. We don't know what we've been cleaning up shop and at some point I'll take the gearbox apart and look at it. Not sure. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I'm going to learn anything, right? Like it must be a freak clip or spacer or something. You saw it was on the magnet, So yeah, the odds were, if the balance was a little more fair, it would have been interesting. And unfortunately it wasn't, but that's the cars we were dealt with, and we ended up, you did all the right things, you won all the right races, and you finished and you survived a gearbox and finished where you needed to do what you did.
So yeah.
What do you think?
So, Luis, are you planning any repairs or changes to the cars in the off season for 2024? Or do you think you're pretty well set up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing to change. We just need to find the bug that's in both the TC cars. We have a couple ideas that we will try, and then nothing crazy. Everything that we have is all homologated, so we just need to see what's going on there. And I don't know. I mean, it's look, it doesn't matter, right? Like if a GT4 Porsche was allowed to race in TC, which is a stupid faster car and whatever, we race under a balance of performance, right? So there's no need to make the cars any faster. The Mini is capable of 100 more horsepower under the hood, but the series tells us to run at this level, and we are. And the interesting thing is, when we built the TC car, it had a lot of power, and luckily we didn't win any races because it would have been unfair, I think. But we always start bringing it down, and we are very transparent with SRO, and and I think that's the problem with our competitors, that they don't know the behind the doors of everything we do. They just struggle to beat us, right? Or not, because we don't win everything, and this year we definitely didn't, but we're a tough competitor, and we always have been, whatever we race. and and it seems to me sometimes when you're racing, I mean, man, when we were racing Dean, yeah, you know, what are we? What was I talking about? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. We race with the cars we are dealt with, and it's just the way it is. It's unfortunate that if things were well done, then or a little better, or it'd be easier. And I hate that we all sign up to race, right? So it is what it is. This is what we deal with.
Bottom line is mistakes happen. We learn from those mistakes and we move on.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, and there's so much that goes on behind scenes that nobody sees, and that we deal with, and yeah, it is what it is. Like I feel bad for PJ.
Yeah.
PJ had had a lot of hopes at Indy. He won a race, and he was frustrated, and he's like, man, I'm turning the same lap times that I did last year. And then last year he was on the front row, right? And this year he turned the same lap time, same weather, and it's too late. I mean, what it is, they're not going to change the BOP, but we start looking at BOP changes, and the two cars that he was competing had been bumped up through the year, a couple a map or whatever, a little bit more power, and nothing for PJ, right? So those are things that sometimes they get wrong, and we deal with it. So
Louis, do you compare data between all previous years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have our datas when we ran. I mean, these are, even though it's a different class and different homologation, it's the same platform, different tires, same engine power, or about the same. And Rob's really good at being able to look at that data and have a good, he has a software to say, okay, well, we got these tires, this power, but at the tracks, and we see that, and we use a lot of that data to help us see where we're at and what's the car doing and why is it doing. We look at other cars, whether, mainly not other cars from the other series, but, like I said, we you have to remember too, right? Like we've been racing for a long time at the highest level of racing. So I've been fortunate enough to be involved with, simulations and, wind tunnels and 7-post rigs and data. And now I was a crew chief, but the engineers, Rob would hand me down all this. So I was very involved in reading that stuff. So when we go racing, I mean, I, as a team owner, want to have the best team on the paddock. I build the cars with the best stuff. It gets balanced, so it doesn't matter, right? But our cars have KW's dampers, which are real proper race dampers that were originally, built to our spec in 9 years of racing. So they have a lot of adjustability, and it works for us. We haven't changed springs on our cars for, I don't know. We didn't change the last 2 years of IMSA, and we haven't changed them since we have been in SRO. And this is our, whatever, third or fourth year now. So, the cars are in a sweet spot. There's nothing to develop. It is what it is.
So, what I got here, Clay, how does it feel winning the TC Drivers Championship?
Super relieved. I think, we had a couple hiccups, throughout the year, that Lewis mentioned that made it a little bit more exciting coming into Indy. We didn't have as big of a cushion coming into it. So, yeah, I'm just really relieved that, we had that failure in the first race, and it just made the second race that much more crucial. So, yeah, it really came down to the wire there. So, but yeah, like Lewis mentioned earlier, Cristian is a big part of the championship battle. When it came down to probably Road America or Sebring, when his odds of being in the fight were not there, his mindset went to helping me as much as possible. So hats off to him, and he's such a great teammate. So yeah.
Yep. So, hey, Tawneen. So,
What is Tawneen saying?
She said, "Congratulations, Clay. One of our
Thank you, Tony.
favorite people in here.
I miss you at the track."
Yep. Hopefully, we get to see you next year, Tawneen. And she said it was nail biting watching you. So, definitely nail biting. It was nail biting watching the Sebring races from home. So that was definitely something.
Yeah.
What do I got here? Clay, how do you typically prepare yourself for a race weekend? So I'm sure every driver has their own like strategy for getting ready for race weekends.
So I've been fortunate enough to have been to all these tracks that we went to this year. So there wasn't a crazy amount of prep we had to do this year. Mainly just reviewing our data and our performance from the last event, to be as prepared as possible for the next coming up one. So yeah, that, a lot of video review from last year, looking at our old driver debriefs to see how the car handled at that particular track. And yeah, that's really about it.
Mm-hmm. So it's typical stuff. I wonder, you think every driver probably goes through that same process?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's pretty standard to, review your video, review your data, do some sim driving if you've never been there. That's a huge help, because when you come to the track, you need to know if you turn left or right. So that's a big help.
Well, hopefully, you think the walls might be a dead giveaway. It's like which direction you're going to turn. Probably the direction you need to go to. At what point in the season did you all know we would be fighting for a championship at the end?
Probably after VIR. That's when we started leading the championship, and I knew that there could be a possibility. I know it was going to be extremely tough with the cards we were dealt with and how they've been against us all year long. But Ricka happened to miss events and have bad reliability one event, which helped us tremendously. So I thought maybe there could be a chance.
Yep. And I know he was going through. I know there was a lot going on that race weekend, not just with his car, but also with his family. So there was just a lot going on. I'm sorry to hear about his dad passing. That was not a good thing to happen going into a race weekend.
Yeah, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
But what do we got here? Yeah, I definitely saw a few mechanical from the video. I definitely saw you when you went into limp mode. It's like you're immediately trying to cycle the electronics, trying to start the car back again. So that seemed like it happened quite frequently throughout the year. I could see when it happened in every video.
Yeah, a couple times. But every time that would happen, we would learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got better at it throughout the year, and it would hinder us less and less. And like Lewis said, we're during the off season. I think we're going to get close to figuring out what that bug is, and I'm sure it'll be gone by the Sonoma next year.
Well, we got time. All of you, anything you would have done differently between If you had to look, if you could do it over again, anything you would have done differently this year?
No, I mean, we just worked really hard to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. We didn't have any, any chances, to make those mistakes. And so we tried really hard at not making those mistakes.
Yeah. So, Bruce, you plan to do more races in 2024? I know you've done 3 so far, 2022 and 2 this year. So,
I sure hope so. It was a real thrill to do Road America this year. So we'll look at the schedule. When you ask the question, what would you do differently this year?
Mhm.
Well, if it's my druthers, it would be race more weekends. So
I was surprised to see you at Road America. I knew you were probably going to do Indy. I was surprised when we show up at Road America and there you are.
it was a special treat. And thanks again, Louis. Always, the car was there for me, and yeah, it's a real thrill just to jump in that, and it is so comfortable, and yeah, it's really neat to be out with it. And I'll tell you what, in the race, Clay made it a little closer to bring it to the last race to get the championship, but I had the best seats in the house. So when you came around me, and you had about a 7-second lead over Jeff, and just held it right there. So it was fun to watch you win.
So Sean popped in and asked me the same question. What would I have done differently? Probably flew. After some of the driving I've done, I would probably have flown to some of those locations. So that would be the one thing I would do differently. Like Sonoma, probably should have flown out to that one. VIR was a fun drive. There was a lot that went on before getting to VIR, like the Dragon and everything. But I think Sonoma, especially, that one was just so far away that I probably should have flown to it after 2.5 days of driving. So it was fun to drive. I mean, I had my car out there, so I got to drive around places I've never been to before. So I mean, there was that. But
yeah. So that's just changing back to Bruce a little bit. What was your best memory of the Road America and Indy? Like, I feel like race 2 at Road America was a lot of fun.
Yes. I think that's my highlight. So I had been to Road America years ago in a different type of car. This was new pavement, and again, a different car. So it takes me a little longer than the young guys to get comfortable and gain my confidence. But what was neat is going over the data, gaining confidence with each practice, with qualifying, with race 1, avoiding some issues in race 1 and getting a 6th place finish. And then I felt racy. Finally, I felt racy in the race Road America, and managed a 5th place finish. So for me, that was quite the accomplishment. Rolling into Indy, I had hoped to be a bit faster right out of the box and throughout the weekend. But as Louis shared, so PJ too was struggling and kind of a little bit off the pace of those front runners. And I'm typically, a second or more behind PJ, and kind of kept that same increment. But that made it tough for me to race in kind of the second half of the pack. So the strategy kind of becomes, avoid the mayhem and just keep pushing and do the best you can. And to walk away from Indy, I did better than last year. So this year was a 6th and a 7th place finish. And it's all in one piece. And the camaraderie of the team and all, it's just a thrill for me to be a part of it. And then again, to watch Clay secure his championship. It wasn't easy, and it came to the last race, and he had to to run a perfect race that last race, and he did what he needed to do. So it's really neat to be a part of this organization.
That gearbox really added a lot of and
Totally.
a lot of
Yes, it
what's
did.
the word? Not action, but a lot of intensity to
Anxiety.
But at the end it all works out the way
That
it does for
That's racing.
at the
So
last moment. And again, with all the moving parts, to put a new gearbox in there, tighten everything up. Clay, I think you had one lap, and it all held together. And then,
yeah,
by golly, it was fast.
It seems like I remember a few late nights of doing repairs, sitting out there while they're repairing cars, dropping transmissions out of minis. I know NOLA we had one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean so talking about that, right? Like the team got crew of the year, right? And that's huge, right? For the guys, right? Because the viewers the viewers that know the team, or even the ones that know, I think 50 to 80% of the guys on a race weekend are volunteers from the local mini program, right? The local dealerships. And so we have a different crew every weekend from the local dealerships. And on top of that, we have 2 to 3 IUPUI students, that are volunteers. And, the full-time crew is really Tony, Nevin, and Roy, right? So at the end of the day, that was a huge surprise and well-deserved award to the team. And, we're going to make sure that all the technicians that were involved, we had 22 different technicians involved this year in 7 races, 7 weekends. And so we're going to send them a little love note, and I'm not sure what else, but the dealership. So that's pretty impressive, right? Like, and that's voted by the guys in the paddock. And, hey, Tommy, talking about Tommy, right? Like, Tommy runs the GR Cup series, and he got crew of the year award also for the GR Cup. And those guys, equally as our mini guys, like they voted the right team as the crew of the year. Tommy's on the West Coast out of California, towing his race car with 3-4 other buddies. Their buddies are pitching in and helping, and he had a couple of wrecks. The GR Cup series is quite intense, and I'm not sure there's many cars that have a straight panel on them. And Tommy made a mistake or something in the kink at Road America and ripped the left rear corner out of the car, and he drove that night to our shop. We put it on a collision bench and spent the next 3-4 weeks working on it. And his buddies were fly in, and eventually they stayed for a long time. And the crazy thing is too, right? Like, our shop's small, especially when all the cars are there, and we have the trailers, and Tommy, Tommy and the guys, KK, Armand, and there's a couple other 2 guys at the moment. Their names escape me, but pretty cool guys. And they would work through the night to not bother us at the shop, to not be in our way. And I remember coming in the morning at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning to the shop, and those guys are Ubering back to the hotel after working all night long. And I don't know how much body work they did, but the repair was massive on that car. And they would sleep on the concrete floor until the car was done, and then they found out the shocks were broken, and they instead of having a 3-day drive leisure drive to Sebring. They had the bonsai over to either North or South Carolina, wherever the shop company is, and unload the car there, have those guys fix it. I mean, just like there's no way, and I think this is amazing because I've built a race car in 10 days. So I've put in, 10 days of 24-hour days to get a car done. And so I know, I feel their pain, and they always had a smile. And, we helped them with some data and try to get them faster. And I mean, I think they learned a lot, and we kind of adopted them, even though we're not racing GR Cup. I think we adopted, Tommy and the gang. And, we also have Derek and Mark racing there. And man, those guys are, burning the midnight oil, fixing their cars, and not running as well as they would like to. I mean, that place is tough, right? So, I mean, there's a line of really good drivers, and they're all bunched up there, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So crew of the year, besides the mini team, Tommy and the gang, they deserve that one. They probably deserve that the most.
Yep, they did they worked their butts off. They worked their butts off.
I laugh now, but I wasn't laughing when I watched those guys. I was like in pain for them. The late nights and the fast food coming to the shop late at night, and I think Tommy's like this big, like my pinky, and he said he gained 10 pounds in those 3 weeks. So imagine that. Between eating bad food and late nights. So anyway, hats off to those guys. I'm super pumped for them. If they choose to do the GR Cup again, I mean, obviously our shop's doors are wide open for them. We're willing to help, and or whatever they do. They're good guys. They deserve to be competitive and have fun.
Yep. Clay, I know that you're looking at possibly moving up to other classes next year, or possibly another series. What are your plans right now, or is that still up in the air?
Still up in the air right now. Nothing confirmed, but we always got stuff going on in the background, so we'll see where we end up in the next few months.
Okay. So I know you've been talking about a bunch of different things. So yeah, we already know the 2024 schedule. They've already posted that. What track next year are you all most excited about? If you had to pick one.
Who are you asking, Clay?
All of you.
You can start, Clay.
Yeah, I'm excited for Barber. Never been there, never even been to that state, so really looking forward to that. I think you've been there before, right, Luis?
I've been
that
there
track,
with
right?
IndyCar, and we were there not racing. Oh yeah, I was racing NST and IMSA. We were racing with Burton Racing back then. Mike Lamara, who's in a TCR, an LA World TCR car, and I think that year, the second year, that was 11. So I've been there on 2011 with Mike Lamara and the BMW. I don't remember we won, but I think we were on the podium there. So we have some data, which is good, yeah. What about you, Bruce?
Well, Indy is always my favorite place, and now I'm pretty hot on Road America. And then when you talk about Barber, quite frankly, that is a really neat venue. So I had a chance to put my Spec Miata on the track there, and I also had a half a day in an MX-5 Cup car there at Barber. So in the wet, that was quite a thrill. But yeah, if I would add a third race, maybe Barber would be a good one, or possibly VIR.
That'd be a good one.
24-hour. I was on a team for a 24-hour race at VIR. Have a lot of respect for that track. Beautiful venue also. And so we'll see. I think those are a couple. Barber and VIR are two tracks that have some appeal to me.
Yeah, VIR is one of our good tracks. I mean, all of them are really. We've always been competitive them everywhere.
Yeah, and speaking for PJ, I know PJ loves VIR even before he got that win. But
yeah, he really loves VIR. So the other thing we need to celebrate is PJ's first win. In TCA.
Mm-hmm.
Well deserved.
Long overdue for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. He drove well. He held on to, took advantage of everybody else's mistake and was super squeaky clean. And, he ends up, probably the biggest win of the year for all of us, right? Because you're used to being on the podium, and PJ had maybe a second or a third by then in the last 2 years, but, the win had eluded him for a long time, so that was our highlight, really. I think that weekend was PJ's win at VAR. Would you agree, Clay?
Yeah, 100%.
The celebrations are amazing.
Yeah, that was it. His celebration was the best part.
Yeah, emotion on the podium is got to be the best.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was probably the best celebration I'd ever seen for a podium, first place podium finish.
Yeah. So that was really good for PJ. I'm so happy for him. He's he'll be back next year. Cars will be the same. I don't know, Clay, we'll see where he ends up. He's welcome back, but I think needs to find the next level.
Yep. So Lewis, I know you have a couple of extra cars sitting around the track. Do you have any? I know it's a little soon, but do you have any prospects for drivers for those cars for next year?
I mean, we have a gentleman that's verbally committed in TCA, and other than that, nobody calls us. I don't think anybody wants to be in a Mini, to be honest with you. So, unfortunately,
Seems like a shame. They're such good cars.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a trend, right? Like you want to be in the fastest car in the series, and it's not a Mini, so it is what it is,
Most fun, I would say, but I'm a little biased, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, well, regardless, we'll be competitive. We'll always find, we will do our best, and we have decent drivers in the cars. We should, trying to chase a podium. So,
Yep. Someone popped in. Thanks for doing all you do for us, MINIAC. The Mini Club is growing every year over here in Pacific Northwest. I think I know who this person is now. I follow him on the Pacific Northwest Mini Club. So,
what did you say? What was the last part you said? I didn't read the whole thing.
Oh, Mini Misfits Club, go JCW team. We love it. Nameless team here in Washington.
Yeah, thanks for your support. We do have a tremendous amount of following. I mean, there's 750,000 Mini owners, and with the technician program, we have the dealers involved. Mini USA is, it's probably the best thing that Mini has going on. So, we're fortunate to race Minis, and we'll continue to do our best job to deal with the hands that are dealt,
And for anyone watching who wondering who Ethan F56 is, he was one of the volunteers for the season with us. I brought him out there. I invited him to come with me, talked Lewis into letting him come out with us, and he's been a great part of the team the whole year. So shout out to Ethan for helping out.
Yeah, Ethan's been amazing. Thanks for all the time and effort that you put in. I know just like Tommy and their guys. I mean, I know you and Zach, and make some long drives, and you know, it's we love racing with you guys, and you guys make our weekends easier for sure. You know.
And I'm hoping that works. I'm hoping that works in our favor for next year. We'll see how things turn out. But I'm planning to come back at least for some of the races next year. So you'll always have a guy to run your incident cameras for several of the races. If not all, we'll see how the money works out for next year. But
copy that.
Yeah. I have one question for you all. How many birthdays are we planning to celebrate next year?
How many birthdays did you have this year, Zach?
I think we were up to now. I went from age 40 to 52 in 1 year. So
that's pretty impressive.
I think
you don't look a day over 40, my friend.
Well, next year we're gonna have more because we didn't have any of your birthdays in Sonoma this year. So
yeah, we started a little late.
We did.
A little late.
We did one in Sonoma.
Did we?
Yeah, it was at the Mexican place.
Man,
I think that
I can't remember.
It was at the Mexican place because Ethan and Jackson had went up and told the people it was my birthday.
Yeah. Well, expect more next year.
Oh God, we'll see what happens then. So I know Ethan didn't want me to ask this question, but I'm going to. Ethan wants to know from all your point of view, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I couldn't tell you.
Bruce wouldn't know.
Yeah, Bruce, the engineer here.
Sorry, Ethan. I had to say it.
I just can't find the relevance.
There's no relevance.
A woodchuck could chuck so much wood if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Hey, Bruce, where's Gus?
Yeah.
He is sleeping. He did some swimming today. He's out cold right now.
Nice. Yeah, we miss Gus. He's always brings a smile to all of us.
He's been happy to be part of the team this year.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta have Gus back next year too.
Okay. Yeah, Kim has a checkered flag bow tie for him.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yes.
That's awesome. So yeah. Ended on the season ended on a high note. We have a TC Drivers Championship win. We got a crew of the year trophy. The number 60 car was on display at the hotel there, and everyone got to see that.
See the pictures. I'll tell you, Lewis really cleans up and wears one the colorful tux, and Clay and Cristian were looking awfully dapper. So very impressive.
Yeah. And we would have Cristian on here right now, but he's currently selling a transmission. He just texted me. Rick popped in here. Hi, Lewis.
Is it?
Rick popped in here. Hi, Lewis. Congrats to Team Mini and Clay. Your success was well deserved. We followed the team all year, and you'll always have our support, Rick and Jennifer.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Jennifer. Yeah, they've been a friend of mine since our IMSA days, and I gave Jen a hot lap around Daytona. I think it was Daytona, maybe Sebring too. Maybe if Rick's listening, he can correct me. But what is it?
Sean says, Lewis, don't fight the battle. Leave the glasses on. It will make reading the comments so much easier.
I forget that I have them on my head. That's funny.
That's the reason I have my glasses on. I can't always see anything anymore.
I don't know what I was doing the other day, and I was like, man, I can't see. It is. It was right on the top of my head. But anyway, I don't wear them very frequently. So, and I can see most stuff, but, on the little iPhone here, it's the letters are microscopic, so I should be wearing my glasses. But
if I start reading things, eventually the things just start to blur, and then the only way I can get them to unblur is to put my glasses back on.
Yeah.
And then they finally fixed these. These glasses have taken me 6 months to finally get them to work correctly. So it started at VIR, and then they finally fixed it.
Nice.
Tanine says yes Daytona.
Yeah. So I still have good memory. Yeah. So they've been tremendous friends ever since, and
Yeah.
you know, great supporters. So
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much the way the year ended.
yeah,
This was an interesting ending note.
it's a boy.
It's a boy. So for if anyone's wondering, I have the video and I will share it at some point, but this was on a cake at the shop that Cristian brought in to celebrate my birthday for the second time that weekend or something.
So which one was your best birthday, Zach?
Yeah.
I think the one at the track or at the shop was probably the funniest.
Really?
I think the one at your house.
My house in the
Lewis.
basement.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one too. That was a good one too. But the one at Road America trumps them all.
Well, the one at Road America startled us all.
Yes.
That was
Yeah,
a
the one-
massive surprise. You know.
Yeah, the one at Road America didn't just surprise me; it surprised the whole team.
Yeah. So
But maybe we have to get a little more tricky with the birthdays, like most unsuspecting, because you go to dinner with everyone, you know it's going to happen at some point.
yeah.
Like just do it like randomly. We're all in the garage or something. It just happens right there.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you doing? What are you guys off to do now here in the next, I don't know. I don't even want to go racing again, but and then, you know, the winter, I guess. What are you doing, Bruce?
Well, I am shifting my thoughts from going fast around Indy to maybe a little slower, but over obstacles and in and out of sand and skating, and maybe trying to get a couple of Isuzu Desert Racers in good shape. How about you?
Yep. That's on my calendar also.
Yeah.
I'm going. This will be interesting. I am going, and I don't know. I don't have many details yet, but I am going to Utah to the Winter Olympic Training Center to try out bobsled
Aha.
by the Olympic, and I don't know the bobsledder's name, but he's an Olympian, U.S. Olympian bobsled, you know, driver.
Mhm.
I don't know what you call him.
It's a driver.
Bobsled
Pretty
driver.
sure it's a driver.
Right? Yeah. So we're going to go spend 3 or 4 days early November to try out for bobsled.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you remember some years ago, it was Jeff Bodine,
I do.
some others, and they were working to kind of translate some of the NASCAR technologies into bobsledding and
Yeah.
real racing into the U.S. Olympic bobsled team. So this is 10, 20 years ago. I think it was Jeff Bodine that was sponsoring some technology transfer.
Should be interesting.
So yeah, that's
Sounds
pretty.
like a lot of fun, though.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, meanwhile, Tanine thinks
What does she have, a face
face
there?
palm emoji.
Yeah, I'm trying out for the Winter Olympics. You know, if I'm fast, I'm gonna try out. You know, it's funny because I love the Olympics, right? Summer and Winter Olympics, I love them, and I always sit there and, you know, like, man, if I was young, I would have done this and I would have tried this for the Olympics. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but I was a 3-time national cyclist and a junior cyclist in Chile, South America. You know, so I was really good at cycling. And I was like, man, I wonder if I would have pursued that, if I would ever been to the Olympics or, you know, Tour de France or whatever. So, you know, we have to do stuff in life, right? Like, you know, you just can't stop. And, you know, we are in a racing environment, which is a kind of extreme, you know, profession, sport, whatever you call it. So you're always trying to look for the next thing. And so one of the Olympic winners, maybe not last year, but a year before, I was watching bobsledding, right? I was watching a single man bobsled or whatever. And I was like, man, I can do that. Like, you know, I can do that. That's like driving a car. I bet it's just like driving a car. Well, guess what? I'm going to give it a try. in about 30 days or less, 3 weeks. So that's going to
awesome.
be interesting. So
I want pictures and I want video.
yeah, and spandex, right? So I send all my informations.
Yeah.
I send all my shoe size and helmet size, and I signed the Olympic something waiver already. So like I'm already set. So we're halfway there.
So if you crash the bobsled, they're not liable.
Yeah, I might not make it to a couple races. I might be training for the Olympics at some point.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a camera mounted on one of those things going down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I might take a GoPro or two. Maybe they'll let me
Yeah.
attach it to the bobsled. I'll probably put it right in front of me so you can see my eyes when I'm going down there.
Just put one of the glue pads, just stick it to the
You need one facing you for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right. To see my eyes when I'm like, am I supposed to turn here? How do you drive this thing?
Yeah,
I don't know how fast they go. 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. I don't know.
I'm
I think
sure.
somewhere around there, right?
Yeah.
Things happen fast. Really fast.
Yeah. So that's in my calendar first. Then it's Sonora, maybe the Sonora school. Clinton says, Rob doing it? No, I'm going with Larry. So, yeah, my friend Larry. Anyway, you guys know of him, but yeah. So he does crazy things. Larry just jumped off of a balloon from 38,000 feet with 4 or 5 other, Army, Navy SEAL. I'm not clear, but some pro guys.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, and they needed to do something during the fall for 2.5 minutes or something like that, and they achieved it from 38,000 feet. So, yeah, I mean, pretty impressive. He's my buddy's is quite adventurous, but he does it with a lot of training. He doesn't do anything half-assed, so pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So he decided that we would go try bobsledding, and this has been planned for about a year. It was just confirmed maybe a month ago. So I forgot to tell you guys that. I've been a little busy with the racing season, so changing gearboxes,
Changing differentials.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, what about you, Clay?
I know, searching for sponsorship for next year is what's on my to-do list. Maybe a couple trips with the family and working. So we'll see. Nothing that exciting, not bobsledding.
Yeah. I just saw Rick said Cool Runnings #2 with me on there. That's about right, so we'll see. Well, cool. Do some Spec Miata race. You're doing some racing this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be doing your job as a team owner this weekend. I'll have some cars running up at Sonoma, so I'm actually going to the track after the stream. But
at night? Oh,
yeah, go drop the trailer off, get everything situated. So
yeah, well, we probably should cut it short here. It's already been over an hour.
Yeah. As for me, I think I'm gonna take up downhill competitive skiing.
There you go.
I'm completely.
I need GoPro video of that then.
I'm
completely kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep recording videos. Obviously,
I know the right guy that has a bunch of GoPros that can help you out with that.
Yeah.
I think you have all of them right now.
Well, I can ship them to you. I bet there'll be a birthday cake waiting for you at the bottom.
Oh gosh! Speaking of the birthday cake, did you all finish eating that thing in the refrigerator?
No, I threw it away yesterday. I think So
it was still good.
No, I'm sure, but I have 3 weeks to lose like 10 pounds before I go bobsledding. I don't want you to see all my rolls and my gut and my spandex going down at 60 miles per hour.
Pretty revealing. So,
So, quick question. Someone asked, or this person asked, does anyone own a side-by-side for the off season?
Man, I don't.
Mm-mm.
So I'm thinking he meant a buggy of some sort.
The side-by-side is the Like he has a Razor buggy, but the side by side is. I mean, I know what it is. How do I explain it? It's you know, I can't even think of the most popular brand right now, but I was gonna say Bombay there, but
Polaris.
Polaris.
Okay.
Polaris has some, they're like Polaris, 2-seaters, 4-seaters, depending on the one you want,
Yeah.
What do we got down there?
Congrats to all of you guys. Thank you for sharing the season with us, and I really am looking forward to next season, Motor On.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So a little housekeeping before we bid farewell. Obviously, if you want to check out anything from the Mini JCW team, go to minijcwteam.com. If you want to visit their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mini JCW Team Films. Okay, I can't say it now. Want to obviously thank sponsoring the car number 37, the Mini Card. I know if Cristian were here, he'd want to thank them for sponsoring him this year.
Absolutely.
And here's hoping they sponsor him next year.
That's right.
We'll see what happens. We also want to thank Halston Pittman for his fantastic photography, as always.
Yes.
Great work.
Halston Pittman has been taking our pictures for going on 15. This is our 9th year or 8th year. Anyway, since we've been racing. So that's
now,
like 9 years.
If you want to support the racing team, go to MINI Motorsports 37 Club.miniusaevents.com and you can make a donation to sponsor the team. So I think most of the money goes directly to the team. So they could always use your support. And hey, you're sponsoring part of the racing team when you do that. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I've done it. It's pretty fun. But I also thank outmotoring.com for continuing to sponsor the YouTube channel this year. And thanks again for giving me a tour of the shop. And we also did a parts install at the shop in Tennessee, Knoxville. So that was pretty fun. But sorry, Cristian couldn't join us tonight. I know he's selling a transmission right now at the shop. But
he's working.
Yeah, no, he's working. But here's hoping we'll see everyone next year. I'm going to be figuring out how to. We'll be talking. Obviously, we got time to figure out next year. Obviously,
yeah.
But I'm definitely planning to come back to several, if not all, of the races next year if I can make it happen. But this year was pretty fun, and I want to repeat that, obviously. But Thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and just let everyone log off when we get done here. But I want to thank everybody for watching on the Mini JCW Team website or channel and on the MINIAC. So what do I need to remember? I forgot. Life's too short to drive a boring car. So guys,
drive a Mini.
Drive a Mini.
All right. Well, I will see Lewis, Bruce, Clay. I'll see you all later. We'll be talking, I'm sure. And tell Cristian I said hey when you see him, Lewis.
That's fine. I will.
Okay. See you all later.
See ya.
For everyone. Okay. Bye-bye.